Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Into Motherhood, and I'm Julie Pernikoff. And today we have as our guest Rachel Pekarsky. Hi, Rachel. Welcome. Oh my gosh, this is great. And we were just like schmoozing, so this is also really fun. Okay, I'm going to read your bio it was beautiful that you wrote, and we'll get into it. Rachel Pekarsky is a speech language pathologist, collector of passport stamps, and firm believer that life rarely follows the timeline you imagined. Rachel has firsthand experience with egg freezing and joins us to talk candidly about the medical, emotional, and social sides of the journey, from making the decision to freeze her eggs to navigating dating and uncertainty along the way. Today, she joins us to discuss the highs, lows, and unexpected lessons she's learned about fertility, dating, resilience, and building a future family that may still feel a long way off. Rachel, that was really beautiful. Thank you for putting that together. You
Thank
are,
you. I hope your audience knows that you're a trained vocalist.
oh my God, forgot about that.
I didn't forget.
Oh my
I
gosh, that
remember
is
it.
hysterical. I did do voiceover lessons at one point. Rachel, it's really great to have you. For everyone listening, Rachel and I used to be roommates. And I don't know if you remember this, but we met on a bus a really long time ago. Have
I
we just,
actually do.
you do
Oh,
remember?
on the way to the wedding.
Yes, we were on the way to a
Yeah,
friend's
yeah.
wedding, and we
Wow.
met. Like we didn't know each other yet, but we had a friend in common. And yeah, I remember you were like standing in the aisle and I was standing in the aisle. We were talking, and then later on we became roommates in the
It's
Heights.
so cute. I remember you at that wedding.
So Rachel, first of all, welcome. It's great to have you. This is great. Um, talk to us. Give us a little background. I know you. I want everyone listening to know you. Tell us about you professionally.
Yeah, I'm a speech therapist, speech language pathologist, and I teach people the importance of communication so they can connect their ideas to others around them and connect to people, which is the beautiful thing about podcasts also, right? Just that skill of just being able to open up your ideas and thoughts in a language based area so that you can connect with others and learn more about the world. So it's my day to day. And I do work with a lot of kids. So that'll come into play about the idea of egg freezing as well. Um, but yeah,
Wonderful.
that's what I do day to day.
Thank you. Thank you. And where do you work?
I work both in public school and a clinic, so both private and public, and they're both very different and very beloved to me. Um, Yeah. And then on the side, I like to travel. I like photography. I like cooking. Um, and it's fun for me. I hope people think I'm having fun too, because I am. But I hope people also don't think that I'm having too much fun, that you that you can't settle down and have kids.
Rachel,
Um,
that was a quotable quote. Like we could end the podcast here. That was perfect. That's such a great point also.
Right? It's like such a big fear. It's like, she's having so much fun that like, why would she even want to get married? And it's like, no, I just don't want to be sad all day and like have this take over my life. Your life's not on hold during this time in our lives. That's a really tough balance of like doing things that give you energy and give you hope.
Yeah.
And at the same time, not getting like so independent and so stuck in that space. I don't know if you also went through that, but yeah, I definitely, people always are like, "Oh, where are you going next? Where are you traveling next?" And I'm just like, I hope they don't think that like my goal in life is to go to every single country or
Mm.
to be having, too much fun. Because it doesn't always feel fun. Um,
It's so funny you say that. I'm
Yep.
just that's why I'm like, wow, quotable quotes. Because I remember when I was single, like a really long time ago, not in like recent years. I remember somebody saying something about like someone traveling and kind of making it sound like, oh, they travel so much. Like, do they even want to settle down? I remember thinking like that wasn't so fair. But I also even almost was like, wait, is that like a thing? But like, you can travel and still want to get married. It's
Yeah.
So
There's space for both.
there's space for both. So tell us about that. Tell us about being a single woman, experiencing life, and then also from the lens of slowly preparing for motherhood.
Yeah. Um, it's um it's really tough, and motherhood alone can feel really uncertain, and there's so much that's just not in our control. And then on top of that, to have that extra layer of uncertainty of like the fears start to get to you. And when you don't know the outcome of something, right, you can either lead through faith or lead through fear. And sometimes those fluctuate. And sometimes your fears start to take over and ideas start creeping into your head like, am I marriageable? Like, am I going to be a good mom? Like, I don't know if this is worth it anymore. And that's just your fear talking and taking over in that moment. And it's so real and it's so human. And you can't live through fear your whole life. And definitely when we get to the topic of egg freezing also, you feel like you're spending so much money and that things are going to be more certain, and you just keep learning that nothing in life is certain, and we're just here building capacity for uncertainty in whatever stage we're in, married, single, going through an illness. Just life comes at you and you have to take life day by day, and your fears do get to you and your emotions get to you. And it's just taking things day by day.
That line that you said, building capacity for uncertainty. That's
I think that's like the whole point of life, right? Just recognizing that as smart as we are and as creative as Hashem made us, like, and we became such good problem solvers and we know so much. It gives us this like illusion of we're in control and we can do anything. And I feel like every generation there's like something else that's like, oh, here's what everyone's learning. We're all just learning little by little, bit by bit, that we're really ultimately not in control.
not in control. Yeah.
So
I
you
just got
really said
chills.
it
That was
best.
amazing. Thank you, Rachel, for sharing that in every way. Talk to us about egg freezing. Talk to us about how one decides to do that. Talk to us about your experience, and we'll go down we'll ask you very technical questions, but just to start us off, how does one decide to do that?
So it's not like one dramatic moment where you just wake up and you're like, I'm gonna freeze my eggs. um, it's a series of just birthdays, conversations with friends, um, tests. Like it's a whole buildup of life. So it definitely wasn't like a dramatic moment. Um, and I genuinely would not have even had this on my radar if not for literally dozens of my brave friends who all went through this stage together and were so courageous, and they did the research and they gave me a lot of information and a lot of hope and strength. And one of you guys are going to be so lucky to marry one of them one day, because they're amazing. And I wouldn't be here today without them. Um, and I think that's something people don't know about this process, is that it's something on if a lot, if not all, single women's minds. And it's starting like younger and younger. But yeah, I'm in awe of my friends, and I couldn't have done this without them.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell us, I guess, technically then, because you're saying, it doesn't happen in one grand gesture, which makes sense. Like that's honestly, that makes sense. Like a nice, logical, stable decision sometimes will happen in waves and in cycles. Um, how does it technically begin then once you jump in?
So it's not a snap decision. If you want it to be a snap decision, that's impossible. The wait line for egg freezing can be months. So even if it's just on the brink of your mind, just like have an appointment with a reproductive endocrinologist like handy just because it just to get to that first appointment of even exploring the idea can be months, especially if you want one of the best doctors or a Shomer Shabbos doctor, or a doctor who's just very skilled in what they do. Um, so that alone is just like, if you wanted to even do it that week, you couldn't. It's it's impossible. And then once you already get to that first stage, there's a simple blood test. And they'll have a sit down consultation with you just to explain statistics and what you're getting yourself into and to kind of ease you into the idea and make an informed decision because it's a huge decision. Um, on so many levels, it's a huge decision. Financially, emotionally, physically, it's a huge decision. And you're not tied down to having to do it. Um, you can just really just have the consultation, have the blood test, and just explore your options. I would just start there. And then take things day by day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. The medical system is very tough in, like, every angle. Wow.
It's very tough, and in Israel and America, it's different. In between New York and New Jersey, it's different.
Really?
And the whole process is extremely technical. I can get more
Yeah.
into it if you want, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So, okay, so can you break it down for us a little bit, like, step by step? So we started with the consult, and then still you have to make a decision even based on that.
yeah,
Um,
and I think that there are like two huge misconceptions about egg freezing that everyone should know about. One of them is that egg freezing does not mean that you're hoping to become a single mother on your own. Um, it's really just another insurance policy, and kind of maintaining that balance between like hope and uncertainty. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be a single mom with these eggs unless that's something you choose. But I think a lot of people's minds go to that, like, oh, egg freezing, like that's it. Um, and I think the second misconception is that everybody knows that women are born with a certain amount of eggs that get used up naturally as time goes on. So people think that you are using up your eggs earlier when you're freezing your eggs, and that is so not true. It's actually really cool. Um, your body every month has a certain amount. First of all, I'm not a medical professional, so please talk to a doctor. Um, but just to simply explain it to the best of my knowledge as a speech language pathologist in a
and somebody
totally
that went through it.
almost different field.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you
you're
for the credit.
experienced. Yes.
I'm experienced. I'm experienced, but once again, not a doctor, but to my knowledge, being experienced in this, every month your body has a bunch of follicles and your body naturally selects one of those follicles to turn into an egg that can turn into a child. Um, what the egg freezing process does is that you're synthetically injecting yourself with hormones multiple times a day. As someone who's scared of needles, that was a really big fear of mine, injecting myself multiple times a day.
Wow.
I literally am scared of needles. And I can talk about that later,
Yeah.
but you're injecting yourself with hormones to turn those other follicles that would just disappear naturally into multiple eggs.
Mm,
So you're
mhm.
turning those follicles into a crazy amount of potential that wouldn't have existed before. So you're not prematurely using up eggs by egg freezing, and then you won't have eggs later. Every month, you have those follicles. Instead of growing one egg, you're growing multiple eggs at once, depending on how your body responds to the medicine. Um, so yeah, I think those are like two big misconceptions. And
Mhm.
then you really have to time the whole process around things that are important to you. You could bloat a little bit during the process, so you might want to do it more in the winter when you're wearing cozy sweaters and not as tight clothes. You might have a friend's wedding coming up and you might not be able to dance. If you rely on the gym for mental health, you can't work out for about a month so intensely. You can take a brisk walk, but for a month, as a single person who goes to the gym often, that can be really crushing to hear. Obviously, it's not the same as like 9 months of pregnancy where you're giving up your body for 9 months, but you are giving up your body for your children.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's like not premature
Chills.
motherhood. I
Chills
don't want to
again.
say premature. I'm sure
That
you remember like going through that.
no,
Um,
that's like this is listed in my questions for later, but that's Mesiras Nefesh. That is Mesiras Nefesh. That is
Thank you.
sacrifice.
It's really validating.
It's 100%. Are you kidding? Also, I just learned so much.
Yeah.
There's so much there's so much, like, I wanna learn. I wanna learn about this, but still, like, I'm blown away about things that are just new that, like, it's a different angle of the experience that I haven't heard about yet.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping that listeners can gain from it too. So, okay, so just to continue with the steps though,
Yeah.
talk to us about, like, the medication that you said, the medicine, and the multiple needles a day. What is that for? What does that look like? Why is that happening?
Yeah. So it's crazy because you're paying so much money for more certainty and there's just more uncertainty. Like the doctors don't know how your body's going to react to all the medicines. It's really like a $10,000 guessing game at the end of the day, which is wild to think
Wow.
about because my mind as a single person and I'm sure yours also, even as a married person, is like $10,000. That's like three future shadels and a car or a year's worth of tuition, or
Mhm.
your mind just keeps going. But kids are expensive, you know?
Mysterious
um,
Nefesh, right from the
Mysterious
start.
Nefesh. Mysterious Nefesh. Um, so yeah, so it's a guessing game. So you have to go for monitoring not every day, but almost every day during the process. The shots of you self-injecting at night is like 8 to 12 days approximately. And then there's trigger shots after that and a retrieval, which is procedure where you're under anesthesia to retrieve the eggs. Um, it's it's a lot. It's the medications have to be refrigerated. The medications alone on top of, the about $10,000 for the process. The medication on the side is another 5 to $6,000. So really
No
it's
way.
like
It's separate?
I'm not joking. Yeah, no, those are separate. And every
Oh my
clinic is
god.
different. By the way, if you're looking into different clinics, make sure that the anesthesia is included, the egg freezing is included. There are a lot of questions that are important to ask. Please feel free to reach out to me or one of the organizations to know what to look for.
Mhm.
The monitoring alone, like the every other day blood work and ultrasounds, that can be another $1,000 if your insurance doesn't cover it. Copays, you're going you're paying a copay every other day, so if you have a high copay, that's another added expense. It really starts to add up in ways you don't expect. But there
Where
is a lot of support in the Jewish community to really help out with that. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, please. I'm like, "Wait, hold on one second."
It's so much. It's a whole other worlds.
How but I'm still stuck on, like, I want the ladder. I want the steps, and then I wanna talk more about the community, though. But tell me more about the steps. So at night, there's shots, and then so are there multiple shots a day? There's one specifically at night? Like, what's the schedule? How does that or is it different for every person?
So it's different for every person. Like
Okay,
there's a
okay.
WhatsApp group where people talk about the egg freezing process and their medications and swapping meds, which obviously do under a doctor's guidance. Don't just start taking
This
medicine
is
that you don't know anything about.
ever
That's the
for
thing.
anything.
You become really a medical professional overnight. I never have to give shots in speech. And even my friends that are in the medical field don't give these types of shots.
Yeah.
And it was confusing for them as well going through the process if they were going through egg freezing or IVF, which is a very similar process. Um, so yeah, you sometimes you're scrolling through the WhatsApp groups and you're like, why don't I have that medicine? What does that medicine do? Why don't I have it? Is there something wrong with me? Like, is there
Mm,
something
mhm.
amazing with me? Like, yeah, every doctor has a different protocol and different medications that they're using, but a lot of the medications do have to be refrigerated and timed. and they can't be too cold and get frozen, and they can't be too warm and the enzymes or whatever they might be get killed. So they really have to be in a controlled environment at a very specific time, um, every night. So it also takes up a lot of time. It's emotional, physical, financial, and it takes over your schedule completely. You
That's
also, before work, have to go for monitoring because they want the blood work ready in time at like 6 a.m. to give you new instructions potentially in a few hours. So everything's very specific and timed and out of your control. And sometimes you might need to pick up more medications. Um,
like they'll just call you out of the blue and be like, "Oh, you need to do this instead," like in the middle of the
yeah.
day.
And to them, the nurses you're usually assigned like your specific nurse because there are so many instructions. Um, and at any point you think you're gonna mess this up because I was like, I don't have any medical training. And here I am in charge of this really expensive process. And you feel like you can like overcook your eggs or undercook your eggs, but it gets really hard to not let it take over your life too much. But it's very natural that that would happen because there's so much going on that you
Right.
don't know.
It's all encompassing,
It's
truly.
all encompassing. It really takes over every area of your life, every modality.
Wow. It really sounds
um,
like it. Again, Sarah's
yeah,
Nefesh. Tell me about like longevity. Like you're saying it's a month. How's the process go time-wise? Like how long is a series? What's the right word? A cycle?
yeah, I guess a cycle. So the stims are the shots. The shots are 8 to 12 days, um, typically. And then you have a trigger shot, and the trigger shot has to be done at exact time at an exact moment in time to make sure it lines up with your appointment for the retrieval to go under anesthesia. They set everyone up very specifically at the clinics. Um, for anyone that knows me, I'm usually asleep by like 10:30, 11. I need my beauty rest. But my trigger shot was 1 a.m. on a Shabbos. And I was like, what if I sleep through my alarm? Like, 1 a.m. Like, that's
Rachel,
a
that's
wild time
crazy.
to be medicating yourself. And you can't pre-mix the shots. And it was Shabbos. And then you have to ask a lot of Shilohs, like, oh, can I make myself bleed if I bleed with the shots? Do you pre-open the alcohol swabs? How much can you prepare in advance? What's allowed? What's not allowed? Because, like, during the process, you feel like you're sick. You feel like there's something like really wrong with you, even though you're doing something so proactive and so brave.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um, but you kind
definitely.
of like think to yourself at a point, like, how did I get to this stage in life that I'm doing this solo, that I'm doing this at all? But really, this can happen to anyone at any age, at any time. But like I said, like your fears get to you and start to take over and creep in. Um, what was I talking about? The shots at 1 a.m.
There's so
Um,
many there's so many wonderful little spots there for more conversation, but yes, let's continue with what we
yeah.
were saying.
You gotta
The
take a
shots
trigger
at 1
shot.
AM. We were
You
talking
gotta
about the
take a
shots at
trigger
1
shot.
AM because we're talking about timing, like how long everything takes, and then you were saying, like, things are even specifically timed out within each slot, specifically now the
Yeah,
trigger shot.
and then yeah, and you're going under anesthesia, so then as a single person, like, you don't have a husband that's gonna pick you up from the procedure. You're not allowed to drive for 24 hours, so, like, who do you ask? Do you ask a friend? Do you ask a family member? Do you ask a stranger? You can't Uber, um,
You can't
typically. I don't
Uber?
know if there are, like,
Hold on, you froze for a sec.
signs for that.
Wait. There you are. Okay, wait, I hear
Oh,
you.
goodness.
It's okay. We'll see you in a second.
He
You
got
look good
frozen
frozen no
again.
matter what, it's fine. Okay.
Where
Wait, is my internet okay,
where
yes,
did
go
it pause?
I don't even know. You can't take an Uber. That's what you're saying. Why can't you take an Uber?
Oh, I don't know. My clinic didn't let me take an Uber. Maybe you can sign away for that. Some retrievals are on Shabbos, so you might need to get a hotel room nearby, and there are organizations to help out with that as well. There's just really a lot that goes into it. The Chagim could really fall out nearby. Anyway, so you go for the retrieval. You're under anesthesia, and you're
Okay.
alone. even during IVF, during that process, that part when you're in that hospital bed for it's a 10-minute procedure. It's really, thank God, not long, but they want everything timed and for you to be there on time. So you're going to be there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours in total, but the procedure is 10 minutes. Um, and you can't eat for a long time before you have to fast. So the organizations bring kosher food for when you wake up. So you have something to snack on. It's really, really thoughtful.
Wow.
But you're alone. And the cool thing about being from in this process is that the organizations really would prefer if you had a mashgicha in the operating room with you during the process to just to make sure that everything's being labeled properly and sealed and that it's
Mm.
yours. So they actually have a Hachsher sticker that they sign off on with their signature. So even though you're feeling really alone, you're not alone. It's very cool. Like you have to get clearance from your clinic
Wow.
and you have someone with you. They just quickly say hi and introduce themselves. They're really not supposed to be part of the process. Um
And they're volunteers, I'm guessing?
yeah, they're volunteers. They usually live really far
Wow.
away. Some of them are like in the middle of preparing for Pesach and they're like running out to come for this like one procedure 2 hours away for you. So
Special.
as
Wow.
much as there's things that go not wrong, but things that could be said during the process that maybe aren't the most comfortable. At the same time, I am also very grateful for the support. And that was just really cool to just like have someone in the room with you and
Yeah.
just know someone's nearby.
'Cause does that happen? Because I know that we've said, and you're saying also now that there's similarities to the IVF process. Do do does that happen also in the IVF process that a mashgicha would be there? Like, in general, is that something that in the frum world, they do that with egg retrievals?
Yeah. So basically, egg freezing is like step one of the IVF process, and it just gets stopped when your eggs are literally frozen in a freezer.
Got it.
For IVF, the eggs don't get frozen. They move on to other stages and steps, like being implanted. So they actually need a lot more um, mashkicha work
Like,
and
supervision,
steps,
basically.
supervision along the ways. Exactly. I was trying to think of
Yeah.
like the English term for that. There's a
I
lot
know,
more
I'm also
supervision.
mashgicha. I would say supervision. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. There's a lot more supervision involved with married people, and a lot of those steps, um, the people aren't necessarily involved in, like the couple's not necessarily involved in, it sounds like. But s- parts of the steps are done without the couple, but need to have supervision to make sure, the right sperm is being implanted with the right eggs. Because there can be mix ups in that. Really not so frequently anymore, but it's nice to have that extra security.
It's nice that our community is so attentive to that also.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, that's another thing. We are a culture that focuses on family. Everything is family. So I think it's only natural that there are so many organizations dealing with this because
mhm.
obviously there's a huge need. If there's at least three huge organizations working with this, on top of, I already know two new organizations specifically for single females that are up
Wow.
and coming. There's really a need for this. And it's not talked enough about, but it's also becoming more accessible now.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like there's oftentimes an issue with visibility within the community with single women and single men, but like definitely single women, I would say. Um, so this sounds like a huge improvement in that. Like this is very
It's
much
huge.
um
It's huge. Like a lot of the organizations, I think even 5 years ago, when a lot of, my older friends were already talking about it, um, really didn't have the structure set up for this. And they also didn't give financial assistance a few years ago. Now, more and more, there's, some financial assistance available. There's a lot of guidance, counselors available. Um, so yeah, it's
yeah.
really nice to see the community growing together in this.
Wow, that's amazing. Um,
Yeah.
what happens at the end of the process then? And how does storage work? After the retrieval, is that the end of the process or is there more?
That's a really great question. It really depends how your body responds to the medicines, and to the whole process. So everyone's individual in that sense. Um, some clinics offer free freezer storage, for the first year. And then a lot of the Jewish organizations, have a lot of insight and deals with companies that specialize in egg freezing. And these organizations have done all the research for you for the most part, which is incredible because even making a decision of which phone to buy next can be really complicated, let alone, something as sensitive as, your future family in a freezer right now. So it's really nice that they've really done a lot of lead work, like work, and have a
Yeah.
lot of advice to
Yeah.
do that. So the freezing storage fees are usually $1,500 per year. Some of the organizations you can get it for $300 to $400 a year. And then you also have to make a decision if you want to, like a lease, like if you want to do a long-term plan or a short-term plan. Do you want to do 10 years of freezing and then it's a little cheaper, or, you're betting on yourself. Like even
Yeah.
when I was buying disability insurance for work, if God forbid I break a leg or I don't know, these little things. Um, the first question they asked me when I was getting disability insurance, because unfortunately in the American healthcare system, having a child is considered a disability, um, which is really, we really need to reframe that as a country. Um, I'm not this like huge like rah 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 person, but that's a biggie. Wow, in
Hmm.
maternity
Hmm.
leave, my gosh. Anyways, off topic, but
Yeah. Let's really go into that. Yeah. Like
um,
Julie, stay with the script. Like, don't just start schmoozing with Rachel.
that's the thing.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
we're always thinking these are things that are on everyone's minds, like married or not married yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Like we can all, and that's also like, it's so important to me that this forum is a place for just like women and moving into motherhood and Meretz Hashem, but like also just like we're women. We have so many commonalities. There's so much in common. And yes, there's so many differences also, but like dealing with the medical system is a massive issue for a lot of people. And there's different angles to it. So it's
yeah,
interesting.
even with egg freezing, it's fascinating. My insurance through the Board of Ed is amazing insurance, thank God.
Yes, it is.
And they would cover many rounds of IVF if that was something I would need. Um, but they don't cover egg freezing unless you have cancer. So I sometimes also during the process, I'm like, wow, I'm in that sweet spot of like, I don't have cancer, but I don't need IVF, but like, wow,
So
like
interesting. That's what their
really
policy
almost
is?
nothing was covered. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. So
It's
let's get
hard. And
in.
in Israel, it's different. In
Let's get
Israel,
into that. Yeah. So
there's,
what's the
a
deal
lot
in terms
going
of
on.
insurance? In terms, I mean, that's you're talking about like $15,000 that
Oh,
like
so for, yeah,
like
just liquid
each
cash
person just
that
have.
you worked hard on for. Yeah. But yeah, when I was buying disability insurance, just I was remembering now what I was saying. When I was buying disability insurance, their first question was, "Are you getting pregnant this year?" And I was like, "Wow, I am so single right now." But a lot can happen in a year, especially in the frum world. Like, I could be pregnant this year. Like, that would be great. Let's manifest getting pregnant this year. Let's get a
Did you check
really
yes?
great policy.
You're like, yes.
Yes. I was like, I'm getting pregnant this year. They're like, are you married? I was like, not yet, but things can happen fast. But I took out a really expensive disability insurance because also for disability for pregnancy, you can't just decide and wake up one day that you want disability insurance and they're just going to cover it. Like you need a few months heads up. So I was like, you know what? I work really hard. And I really think about my kids all the time, and I hope that they know like how much I went to bat for them and how much I care about them and how loved they are right
Yeah.
now, even though if they don't exist in front of my face right now, like they're all in here, right? We all know they're all in here, and we were all born with potential, and they're all there. Um, during my first monitoring, at the beginning of the process, my doctor, is religious, and he was like showing me on the monitor, all the little follicles, and he's like, "Those are your 8 o'clock," and I was like,
Oh.
Yeah, I
That's
was like,
so
"Oh my god,
special.
can you print that little picture out? That's very cute, actually." Um, anyways, yeah, so you're really betting on yourself, and I'm really hopeful that this is really gonna work out beautifully, and that as hard as it is right now, and as hard as it's been for many, many years, that this will work out, right? I have friends that got married in their 30s that have 5 kids under the age of 4. No multiples. Like, that's wild. And I also have friends that got married at 19, and this is fertility is still a struggle for them. You really can't predict, like I said, like as much as you think you're in charge, we are so not in charge.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, yeah,
Wow.
just
So
an
so
insurance policy,
so yeah, absolutely. So talk
highly
to
recommended insurance policy.
yes. Talk to me a little bit about halacha in terms of all of this. Um, where do we stand on and then also, like, using the eggs or not using like, where do we stand on that? How does that work halachically? Mm.
Yeah, so as a single person going through egg freezing and not IVF, and IVF, like I said, you're going straight into doing something with the eggs. With egg freezing, you have to sign a lot of paperwork about what happens with these eggs. Um, and I called a rabbi just to, double check because the options are basically like donate the eggs to a family member or donate them to research or destroy them. Which is crazy to think that you could spend, tens of thousands of dollars and just be like, actually, we are gonna blow up the whole operation and just we're gonna destroy all these.
Well,
Um,
also though, like, do we hold though that those are like half like children? Like how like that's what I'm saying also. Like
yeah, no, I don't think so. Just because I'm not a rabbi, but I can just assume that like your body already is naturally releasing eggs. Um, and that's, not a problem. It's not even something we're in charge of. So, if you just want to be like super safe, yeah, they 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 can't grow past being an egg unless there's sperm involved. So nothing can really happen with them. I was told that, if the form says that the eggs for research purposes, if they won't be turned into a child, then it's okay to donate them to research. Um, I was advised not to give my eggs away to family members. Um, I'm sure if my
be a
siblings are watching
Pekarsky
this, they're like,
party.
"Oh, dang." Really
Rachel's
wanted
family is
those.
a lot of fun, everybody, just so you know. Yeah.
I really love them. I'm really blessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're really bummed that I'm not, giving them my petri dish of
That's really interesting. I yeah,
pies.
so you know what I'm asking that also based on? Because I've seen a lot on social media from, like, Christian influencers that there's, like, controversy around IVF. Um,
Wow.
have you seen anything like that? So it then it I didn't, like, dive too deeply into it, but I think that they don't hold of it as much because. But that's why I'm like, halachically, where do we stand in terms of the eggs? I think they're talking about, though, um, fertilized, like, later on. I don't know. Have you seen anything about this?
Interesting. That's probably more IVF related than an egg freezing. Just because people will freeze embryos, which can turn into a child in anyone, as long as it's implanted into, you know, a body that can handle growing a baby. But yeah, that's probably more IVF related. But honestly, I'm sure a few years ago it was a little more taboo in the frum community.
Mhm.
Um, and a little maybe more controversial. I know there's a lot more. In some ways, our community is reactive, and in some ways, our community is proactive.
Mhm.
Um, I think because family is such a central part of our culture, I think we're a little more proactive in this
About this.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically. I don't know if I can say that about other topics. And there's still ways to go, but I think it's also a growing field at the same time. I think we're all kind of just growing together with this. Um, I definitely think was controversy about it. I think also the more that our community is insular and there's a lot of genetic stuff that's been coming up a lot more recently because, we inbreed within a religious community and a lot of that happens and then genes come up and then people want to gene select in the future with, an IVF process to kind of eliminate certain genes
Right,
like
right, that's
T-sex.
where things get very.
Like, remember, like, growing up, they were like, "You gotta do Doria Sharon because we can't have Tay-Sachs," but even, like, Tay-Sachs was kinda controversial then, they were just like, "Just don't get married." Now it's like, "No, you can probably get married if this couple works out, but it's gonna be potentially a more difficult process or more medically involved."
Mhm, mhm. Wow,
So
yeah.
I think it's just many more aspects and questions.
What does happen if, great that was a great point also, thank you for bringing that up. What does happen, hold on, there's something in the background, not sure what it is.
My background or your background?
Your background, I don't know. Okay, it's gone. Sounded like Men
This
in Black
connection.
was, like, coming, they're like, I don't know if anyone else heard it, maybe it just me, I don't know. What does
No,
happen
it
though,
sounds like
like,
fate.
like, if someone freezes their eggs, do and then practically, like, do they need to like, that's, I guess, where you sign it off, but, like, what do people do in certain cases, like, if they get married, like, a month later, like, or a month later, I'm saying, like, 6 months later or something, like, you don't know what's gonna happen in a year. What
You just don't know. I feel like I go through this question in my head in a similar way, but a little different. Like, let's say during my egg freezing process, I was dating someone. And first of all, it's very awkward. Like I said, you can't do any intense workouts. And a lot of date ideas are like activities to get to know each other so that everything's natural and so fun. And you're like, actually, I just don't know if I can go bowling or do top golf or do activate, or you're just like, oh wow, now I'm this lame person who can't who's no fun. I just need to eat dinner
you're
and
so
be
fun.
home by 7 o'clock to take a shot because if I miss this shot, I gotta start over. It's you can't explain that to someone you don't know. I can't
Yeah,
even explain that to someone I do know. It's very
yeah,
awkward.
yeah.
And you don't feel like yourself. You're like a little bloated, so like your outfits aren't on point. Why did I bring this up? I brought this up because
Um,
sometimes during the process,
oh,
you're
married a
dating
month later.
someone and
Yeah,
you're
right.
like, stop the process. Like, what if he's the one? And it gets very confusing. It gets really confusing because, like I said, it's not a snap decision for this process to happen. It takes a few weeks or months to kind of get the ball rolling. And then you want to remain hopeful. You also want to have an insurance policy. And it's a hard balance between like hishtadlus and bitachon and knowing what to do and what makes sense.
Yeah,
It's a very safe process, it's doable, it's been done before. Um, but yeah, something a variable like that, it gets really confusing. Like you just don't know. You just don't know. Like
yeah.
it would be cool. This is controversial to say. I think people have different opinions about this. Um, for me, it would be cool if I didn't have to use them. These eggs that I've frozen. But there is, potential in any area in life that, you know, this could be something I do really need. But like I said, everything's uncertain. This even when you get married, um, you don't know. Like let's say 40 to 50% of infertility is male factor infertility, right? Something I like to say is that fertility is not a women's issue, it is a family issue where the women carry the brunt of the process and the weight of all of that. So, right, even if you get married and you went to all your OB appointments and everything's in tip top shape and you've been crunchy granola, been doing everything right, you didn't get yourself into any trouble, you're not a heavy drinker, smoker. And I'm not saying that men are the problem. I'm saying men could also be the problem. And I don't think
Mm,
it's seen that way. 40 to 50% is very high for it to be, a male difficulty.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, everything is just so uncertain, even when you're married. So you just have to put one foot in front of the other and make responsible decisions and not let the fear take over that, you're going too hard with trying to take over and be in charge, but that you're not being lax and seem like you could care less about the process.
I think it's probably sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's
It has to be extremely difficult to maintain that balance when you're literally sticking yourself with a needle and you have, like, a fear of needles. Like, that's mad kudos. Just huge props to be able to maintain that emotional, cognitive, mental balance. I
yeah,
mean,
it's even harder when it's so expensive.
right? There's, like, so many things coming at you. How can you possibly be balanced about it? It's really challenging
Yeah.
sounding.
And then, at least in my clinic, there's an app that updates you with all your daily blood test results and numbers. It's just a lot of
Wow.
numbers. It's a lot
Wow.
of
Yeah.
numbers that could fluctuate and you don't know what they mean. So you're sitting there in ChatGPT being like, all these numbers combined, what's happening?
Mhm. I just saw a video
Um,
somewhere. It said, like, "Stop telling ChatGPT everything." Like, okay, well,
I know.
too late. Like, it's helpful to ask it questions. So what do you mean? So, I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
lot of ChatGPT involved in that.
Yeah.
Um, so what in terms of all of this, I mean, this is amazing. We're not done yet. But what do you
Thank you
wish
for
that
being interested in this topic, by the way. Like,
oh my
I
gosh.
don't think that like a lot of people are even aware that this is such a big deal. So for you putting like a limelight on it, and I really hope that people gain from this, even if it's not a step that they take or a process they take, just so that they're informed.
Yeah,
Sorry, continue. We were just
please.
praising each other. We were
I
just
just
praising each
view it
other.
I just view it as another form of, like, women championing motherhood and their children.
Yeah, you never imagine your life becoming scientific. Like that's just not how it's painted in the books or the movies or what you even see on Instagram or what you see with your friends. And granted, we don't know what's going on behind anyone's scene. I always say that Instagram is the highlight reel, right? And we get jealous of everyone's highlight reel, but you don't see their journal, right? The journal's all the negative stuff. Usually no one's going in their journal and being like, I got a present in the mail for my birthday. Like, maybe, but for the most part, your journal is like your sweat, blood, and tears. And your
Yeah,
Instagram's your highlight reel. So we don't know what's going on behind anyone's
that's
journey,
great.
but
That's a
you
yeah,
just don't
I love
imagine your journey being, yeah, scientific and clinical and, gloves involved and tools. It's not how you see it. It's very possible though. Like it's very interesting also going to a fertility clinic as a single person because you're walking in there and you recognize people and you recognize people that you know from the community, couples are around my age and you're walking in alone and everyone just kind of feels for each other, I hope. Um but it's very shocking. It's very shocking to run into people almost daily that you know.
Mhm.
So you really just don't know what's going on behind the scenes in anyone's life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember you painting that scene for me when we talked a little bit about it before. Just, like, walking in and the difference in experience, potentially, we don't really know what other people are going through, but you're walking in on your own versus not. Like, it's such a heavy experience. How did you talk to us a little bit about how you emotionally were able to handle all of this?
You're assuming I emotionally was able to handle all this?
I know
Uh,
you are.
just
No, you're
barely.
walking through it. How are you getting through it?
Yeah, no. I'm just
As
making
opposed to
light.
above it, under
I'm
it,
making light,
right.
just a defense. But, we're not meant to go through life alone, and it's very hard to remember that sometimes, that, you're allowed to go to your close friends and vent to them about your hardships and they can vent to you about different hardships. Not everyone's entitled to your story. Like me going on this podcast is obviously a little bit vulnerable, but I do hope it does help someone. And I'm not getting, I hope, like too personally detailed, just because I am collecting stories from my experience and my friends' experiences. I'm just collecting all of that. But I remember there was, oh, my first day of doing shots ever. Take extra time your first day of stims to get everything ready. There's a lot of mixing of medications and a lot of fear that you're injecting yourself. Obviously, it takes a lot more time. Um, your first night and everything's timed, so you don't wanna, make it a snap minute decision. But my
Mhm.
first night, I decided to be with a friend who's married, and also in the medical fields, so that in case I freaked out and couldn't give myself a shot in my stomach, which is so weird, that I'd have a medical professional nearby who would know what to do, and I trusted them wholeheartedly on top of just being my friend. I'm like, that's also a medical professional. I'll just feel much
Right.
safer having someone like that nearby. And I was going through it, and she opened up to me that she was going through IVF, and she felt very alone during the process because during IVF, it's a team decision. And you have a spouse with you to make that decision, but it's you and your spouse in a little cocoon. When my friends and I were going through egg freezing, we're all talking about it, right? It's an open conversation. We all decided together or at different times, but it was a conversation and we had support in that sense. We might not have support from spouse, but we had support with each other. And that's something that, my friends going through IVF don't have. So, and she never got to kind of process that emotionally, right? She was just going through the motions. But when she was doing it with me, who's not even married, but going through a very similar process, it was very full circle for her, it sounded like.
That's really
Um,
amazing, Rachel.
it was really amazing. So, really, I think that's just an example of how we're really not supposed to go through life alone. And even if it's not your struggle, it could be something similar. And we can all still be there to support each other. Um, yeah.
What is something that anyone, married or not married, can do to be supportive? Is it sending a care package? Is it sending a meal? Is it just calling up? What like actually is supportive and helpful?
That is a really great question
I
that
was
I
not
never
in the script, so I
actually thought
apologize.
of. No, it's all good. I never thought of it. I can give like a similar example that did happen to me just because I wasn't so about it at the time, to even like receive that support. But when I had spoken to an organization about, like the finances and advice and, which doctors to go to, oh, and also you have to call the organization to get the supervision. So they know when things are happening and they're semi involved in the process.
That's
They're,
so
not
nice.
so hands on, but they're involved. So
Yeah.
I remember, by the way, there's also just a lot of vitamins that they recommend people take during the process to improve egg quality because it's not necessarily about quantity of eggs, it's about quality of eggs. So there's, and once again, this is not medical advice, but just to
Yeah,
be
that's
something
okay.
something to be aware of.
Yeah.
There's a vitamin. I don't know if it's a vitamin or enzyme or something, called CoQ10. I don't know why it's called that. I don't know. But it apparently is supposed to help improve the quality of eggs. And you're supposed to take it
Okay.
a few months before starting the process, which you wouldn't know. And you also wouldn't know that you're not supposed to go to a Zika island 6 months in advance because
Oh
who
my
would have
gosh.
thought? Yeah,
Zika.
it's literally very similar. I'm sure this is like also triggering at the same time. But yeah,
I
vacations. I was like, let's go to Europe
Zika
because there's
is
no
just
Zika in Europe.
so stressful.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so stressful, right? Right. All those things, right? The raw fish. Um, anyways, I
You
was talking about
you
the
can't have
vitamins because
Wait, you have to is it similar? Like, you can't have raw fish at that time also or
I
no?
actually don't know about the raw fish, but,
Oh, okay.
take it each he gets with you. It could be, I just don't eat raw fish, so it doesn't apply to me, but I was
Okay,
like,
okay, okay.
"Well, grapefruits kill everything in your body." I don't know, you get worried. But,
Yeah,
definitely speak to a doctor. But, anyways,
yeah.
the vitamins are CoQ10 is a big vitamin, and it's helpful to just take it at any time, even if you're not currently even thinking about having a kid, just because it's good for your body for those types of things.
Mhm.
So anyways, I was getting a lot of vitamin orders for CoQ10, vitamin D. Once again, talk to your doctor. And I was opening up this Amazon package and I was like, ah, more vitamins. And it was a candy platter from one of the organizations being like, hey, just thinking of you after your retrieval. Hope it went well.
That's
And
so
I
nice.
was like, after so many weeks of just like giving up of yourself and just being so caught up in timing and shots and things being refrigerated and so technical, so technical. And you're just like, there's going
Yeah.
to be more technical stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, they're thinking about me. And that was such a sweet surprise. So I didn't open up to friends about the process at the time to even help me. But your idea sounded amazing, and that was just an example of maybe something that can be done, just like a little treat or go out to dinner or celebrate.
I'm just thinking about
Um,
meals because people get that, after they have a baby sometimes. Like, this is
yeah,
also
no, a meal train would totally be appropriate.
this
A
is what'd you say?
registry,
Oh, registry.
a meal train. That sounds
Yeah.
right of it.
No,
It
it's just
really would be like very helpful and very supportive.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. What if you don't mind, I don't know if this is okay. I hope it's okay. Can you, like, throw out some organization names or maybe just the ones that you even used, if that's okay?
Yeah,
Just of a couple?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the biggies are Boni Olam and A Time. And they have rabbis on staff if you have questions, that are obviously extremely skilled, and very knowledgeable because this is what they do all day, every day for
Wow.
so many different types of people. Those are the big ones, um, that especially work with singles as well. I know
Okay.
that different organizations have a little bit of different like niches that they kind of focus on. But Boniolum and A Time, I can say for certain, are really helpful. And there are a lot of WhatsApp groups and Instagram accounts that I found extremely helpful. To name a few Instagram accounts, I was supposed to have a baby. Farming the City, just walk through visually a really great representation of what it looks like to freeze your eggs as a single person. Um, excellent content.
Great.
Um,
Great. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanna share with us before we wrap up? I'm like,
Yeah.
how is
I
this
don't even
process?
know where to start.
This is just like, what do you want because there what do you want people to know before we wrap up? I mean, I think you really did a nice job, but is there anything else that you might wanna share with us that can help people to understand and be prepared?
Like really trying to think. Um, I think I learned that resilience doesn't always look positive.
Isn't always what?
Look
Oh,
positive.
look positive.
Yeah, and it doesn't always feel positive. Um, and that's okay. Like we really take our shot list one day at a time. You can do one day of shots and just be like, I'm out. This is a lot. And you can back out at any point. It is a safe process. It has been done so many times. It's um, secure and safe. Um, and I think I said before, yeah, building capacity for uncertainty was a really big learning curve in life in general, but it really hit home during this process.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you can really feel broken by not this process, just even this stage of life, you can really feel broken, like am I not good enough? And, fears and doubts start creeping in. Um, it's not true. And there are just like so many wonderful friends and organizations and resources available. Like I said, I don't think I brought this up before. The medications can cost $5,000 to $6,000.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
there are organizations that can help you get it for under $1,000.
No,
There are
you
so many
tell me
tips
that.
and
That's
tricks out
amazing.
there. Please feel free to reach out so I can connect you to the right resources. But like I said, there are WhatsApp groups, there are Instagram accounts, there are resources available. You are not alone. It's really feels like you are alone, but you're not. You just have to have the right resources to tap into.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot sweeter. It's still really hard. It's still really hard. And like I said, I think about my kids all the time. And sometimes I make like life decisions based off of, you know, what I want my future to look like for them. And I'm really hopeful that this is going to happen. Um, and just sometimes biology and your timeline don't match up at the exact same time. And just we're all trying our best. We're all trying our
Yeah.
best. And thank you for bringing light to
Rachel,
this.
my pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for speaking and just Rachel and I know each other for a long time. This is really, really nice. This
You
is really
raised me and
oh
my
my
mom.
God, not at all.
But we went through a lot of nights together with, talking about a lot of these, not necessarily this exact topic, but some of these harder
Yeah.
topics in life that we're
Yeah.
all strong. We're all strong for each other at different points, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
like I was
absolutely.
up and you were having a harder day and we meet in the middle.
Definitely some moments where I was having a hard time. You're like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, we've
It's
been together
real.
for a long time. True. No, Rachel is awesome. This is so important, and I just wanna highlight also that, like, we all have commonality in struggles and sacrifices, and they're all so different and so unique. But we all have so much in common. Married, not married, mothers, soon to be mothers. There's so much commonality and there's so much that we can relate on. And just that story of your friend sharing with you that she's going through IVF, I mean, like that puts it perfectly.
Yeah,
Perfectly. So call a kavod to you for giving her that space to then be able to not feel alone.
thank
So
you.
yeah. Thank you for being here, Rachel. This is fantastic. I can't
Thanks
wait for
for
people to
having me
my
and
pleasure.
really reach out.
Oh, yeah,
Anyone.
how can people reach you? Thank you. How can people reach you?
I would say the
No pressure to,
best
like,
way is
list your phone
maybe
number, but
yeah, I'm not gonna list my phone number. I was like, what's the best way to go about this? Um, I think the best way is maybe my public account on Instagram. Kosher Compass Co is my handle. I don't know how to spell that. It actually sounds like a lot of S's, and we'll put it in the show
we'll put it in the
notes.
show notes, but yeah, Co, which also
Kosher
is a great
Compass
account to
Co.
follow regardless, but yeah. So, all right. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much, Rachel.
Good night, Julie Booley.
Wait, how do I end the recording? We wanted to add one more thing. Rachel, please feel free to take it away.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to say I genuinely do have a huge fear of needles. And I think even if you don't have a fear of needles, like this is a lot of needles. So I just also wanted to say that I did have a therapy session to work on that fear of needles. Granted, I was still scared going into it, but what was very helpful was we wrote a script together of something to keep in mind before injecting myself, what to think while I was injecting myself, and what say to myself and remind myself after um, injecting myself. I keep saying the word injecting, but
It's okay. Yeah, that's so
yeah,
powerful.
and it was really powerful and really helpful just because when you are putting needles in yourself all the time, that's pain. That's really painful. It's it could be torturous, right? And pain without a purpose is torture. But when you add purpose to it and you remind yourself of why you're doing it, because you value family, because life can be uncertain, but it's a safe process when you just have a quick reminder of your goal in mind and you have that purpose in mind, it takes away a little bit of that torture. I also just want to say that the organizations can also help pair you up with someone in a community nearby that can actually do the injections for you. Um, yeah, it's really incredible. I know that there are things that still need to be worked on, but at the same time, how incredible is that that you can call and find someone in your area that can help you with the injections or talk to you before and have that support. Um,
And
but the
there
script
was
was
also
really helpful. Oh, yes. The organizations also said you can use MICER money for this process as well. I'm obviously not a Rev and talk to your Rev, but the organizations are obviously run with a lot of rabbinical guidance. And using that MICER really did take a lot of some of that like anxiety off of things during the process. But yeah, without purpose, you're just torturing yourself. And it's actually really crazy. At the end of the process, the injections were actually some of the easiest parts, which I really was blown away from because I was not even entertaining the thought of doing egg freezing because of how scared I am of needles. I run. I see a needle, I'm like, that's it, I'm out. I'm not gonna be in the doctor's chair anymore. So yeah, I found that fascinating.
what was the biggest challenge?
I
You
think
don't
the
have
biggest challenge was thinking, no, it was the emotional piece of thinking that I am in control. Um, and being shown that I'm human. I'm human, and even the doctors, have to do a lot of work behind the scenes with all these calculations, and it's fascinating. Thank you for having me on here.
pleasure.